Welcome to an introduction of the Wealth and Fitness podcast. I'm excited to get started here. This is going to be a little introduction about the reason behind it, what it's about, who I am, why I'm choosing to do this, and why I think it matters that I get you guys kind of interested in the why as opposed to the how or what. Obviously, what is what you're listening to right now? What is it? It's a podcast. It is short or long term video content about things that I think are relevant, guests I want to talk to, and why this idea of wealth and fitness, congealing that into one thing, is important, and how I'm going to try to navigate this here. So, the main reason I'm starting this is the idea of creating versus consuming, right? Everything that we consume was created. So there's that. Everyone that creates things also consumes things. I think it's important to kind of take some autonomy over what it is you share with the world. That in a growth mindset is what I thrive on and what I try to live my life behind. And I think it's just quintessential to share and drop the ego or thinking, because the reason I didn't do this earlier is because I cared too much about what other people thought. If this can touch one person, I'll be happy. Literally one person's life. That's why I'm doing this. I've learned probably post education, like formal education, if you will, 80 to 90% of what I've learned and have applied directly to my life, both in the idea of wealth, not just financially, but health is wealth. So that's why that's that idea there, right? Wealth and fitness, they're kind of one thing. Because you can have all the money in the world. If you're not healthy, what is the quote? It's like, what, the rich man has a million problems. The sick man has one. And it's just getting healthy, because that's all that's truly important at the end of the day. And if we're healthy and we're putting ourselves in the best position possible to provide and protect our loved ones and be the best version of ourselves, then that is the fundamental foundation of what life is built on and how you can create lasting and impactful relationships with people. So that's the kind of why behind the name and what we'll get into. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper as time goes on. But who am I? My name is Drew Collins. I am a 24-year-old from Niskayuna, New York. Played lacrosse. I was a student athlete all throughout school. Had the honor of being able to play in college. Played at St. Michael's College. Had a great 4 years there. Actually transferred from Lemoyne to St. Michael's, but that was very early. Sure, that'll be touched on at some point. But essentially, that's who I am. What I do is I have a corporate 9-to-5 job, and it is not me. It's what I do. It's not who I am. So I kind of want to create this to give myself a platform to share and take some ownership of what I put out into the world and how people see me. All right. So from here, I'm going to start with a quote, and I'm going to start doing this in every episode. It'll just be a nice foundation. It's not going to be what every episode's about, but it'll be a nice kind of transition period into what it is we're going to talk about. So the quote today is going to be, "The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance, and the wise man grows it under their feet," right? And this is that growth mindset. Why that's important is, first of all, seeking happiness is foolish to begin with, because happiness is a feeling. Feelings are depleting, and if you listen to some of the most successful people in the world, and everybody has this idea, right? Even growing up, all we talked about growing up in school when you were in third grade, kindergarten, for example, what do you want to be when you're older? It's like, why don't we take a step back, take control of who we want to be today, because all we truly have is today, and chasing a feeling is silly because feelings come and go. So I like the idea that growing things under your feet, even if it's not exactly what you want, people always say, hey, I'll be happy when I get this, or when I get there, I'll be happy if this. And then there's a crazy flip is when you actually get that thing that you said was going to make you happy and kept you going for so long. Once you get that, be it a material thing, an accomplishment that may be forever, right? Like say you win an award or something, or some recognition at work, outside of work, whatever it may be, that lasts for about 2 seconds. And then it is right back to, what am I doing today? What's going on now? And what now, right? Because all you were talking about is getting this thing, and you got that thing, and now what? So that's an idea there. And again, just having gratitude. Gratitude is more important than happiness, because if you can't be grateful for what you have now, you don't necessarily deserve what it is you'll say that will make you happy or what will make you feel grateful, because that is outside of your control. It's not something you're able to just take autonomy over and just have extreme ownership. That's a principle from Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL leader and just absolute dog. Guy's a savage. I mean, I don't think everybody should be waking up and posting their watch at 4:30 in the morning, but hey, that guy has defined who he is as a person, and he shows up and delivers on that every day. So that's okay. I mean, everybody's entitled to do whatever it is they may, and I'm not saying you have to live your life like Jocko Willink, because I'm not doing that myself, but the principle he preaches in extreme ownership is taking accountability for everything that happens to you, right? It's that stoic mindset. Not everything quite literally in your life or that happens to you is your fault. Obviously, like that's abundantly clear. There are so many things beyond our control that we can't necessarily control, and not to say that or be redundant, but if you take that mindset and approach to everything that comes across your desk or your plate and you say, what am I going to do about it? It takes a weight off your shoulders, because there's nothing worse than somebody that just always blames other things or people for why they're not where they want to be. You could do that till you're blue in the face, but it's going to get you nowhere, right? Like nobody wants, whether it's corporate America, whether it's your network, your parents, your family, your friends, like nobody wants that person who's always just bringing stuff down and like not trying to do anything about it. I can't do this. Well, what can you do, right? Control the controllables and water what you can. Where your feet are is all you can control. I've had plenty of things that were less than ideal happen to me, and so has everybody, and that's a part of life. So it's true. You can't project onto other people or assume because somebody's situation on the outside is better than what yours may be. Like you don't know. It's likely that you don't know what that person's gone through to A, get there, or B, what they're going through right now. And a beautiful principle that my dad always told me, and this has honestly stuck with me for quite a while, is that if everybody in your circle, whoever that may be, doesn't have to be your closest friends, but everybody in your circle, whether say 100 people, right? The 100 people closest to you, whoever that may be, if everybody put their piles into one, or that, excuse me, if everyone put their problems into one pile and you sat there and you looked at them, I bet you every dollar you've ever made that you take yours back, because you don't know who's dealing with what, how many apply to who, and there is so much shit that can happen to you that you might think it's terrible, it's the worst thing that's going on in your life right now, and that may be true. It might be the most inconvenient, challenging time of your life that you're navigating, but every time you interact with somebody, that's why it's important to act with compassion, because you can hide a lot behind a smile, and we're so conditioned as people. In my job, I deal with people. So when I'm around people, there's always that, and people don't even necessarily mean it. It's just a social thing that we do. It's a norm where someone goes, oh, hey, how are you today? And you go, I'm good, without even thinking about it, right? Or I'm fine, I'm good, thanks, how are you? And half the time we ask that to people, or we answer that question with conviction. I can't say that person actually cares. They're just saying that as a social norm, and that's okay. But I think it's important to kind of, I'm not saying you need to overshare, or you see a stranger and they say, how you doing? Is just to drop and trauma dump on somebody. That's not my solution to that. Just saying that most of the time people say that. I've said I'm good when I'm not. So I guarantee you have as well. And that's okay, to my point. You don't have to overshare or anything, but most of the time people treat you poorly or snap. Like it could be death by a million cuts. You could have said something or not been able to do something because of something bigger than yourself. And it might just be unfortunate, the timing of when you said it to that individual. And more than half the time that they snap or you snap, you know you're not snapping at the person. It's not your problem's not with the person. It's a conglomerate of stuff that's going on. And it's eating at you. It hurts you. It bothers you. And that was just the last thing that pushed you over the edge and you freak out. So acting with compassion and patience, practicing patience, because we live in a very instant gratification world. I mean, social media, the way we've grown up, the dopamine that we have access to on our phones, I mean, it's nuts. It's not how human beings have been bred to live the last, I mean, go back 30 years, right? Those people were different in how they approached problems, how their mental just mindset and landscape was because of all the stuff that's in excess just being thrown at us. And that's why creating is important, in my opinion, because if all you do is consume, it's very easy to be led by other people's beliefs. And I don't think that's necessarily a healthy thing, right? I think it's important to kind of take that ownership and think for yourself. Obviously, the quote I read, other things, like everything comes from somewhere. So not, and no idea is just original at this point. There's been so many things between AI and the internet. Everything's been spun 100 different ways, but it's important to kind of take 2 seconds to think for yourself and just kind of put thought behind what it is you're saying, how you represent yourself, and how you show up in the world every day. I think that's one of the most important things because it's all we have as people is today, the interactions we have with people and how we're remembered, right? And just again, to kind of tie it into my life, why wealth, why fitness? I work in the banking sector, so wealth isn't the only thing I'm concerned about. I think there are far more important things than how much money you're able to provide or selfishly bring to yourself. And I haven't done that yet. So let's make that clear. I'm not rich or anything, but what I'm trying to do is I understand why it's important and I am in that realm and not, I don't even want you to think about it when you hear it as wealth from the aspect of money, right? Wealth is a lot of things. Fitness has changed my life. It's the way I like to cope with things and keep myself, if I can keep myself mentally and physically sharp, I'm mentally sharp, right? Like if I exert myself, I release those endorphins when I'm sweating. I eat healthy. I take control of my health. I feel wealthier in as a reciprocal of that because I'm controlling what I can. I'm like the people in your life deserve the best version of you. And if you're not fit, I'm not saying you need to be ripped, jacked. Like you don't like there's levels to fitness, right? It's not just a one size fits all thing, but if you're just functionally healthy and your mind's in a good spot and all of the above are true, you're now able to provide and be the best version of yourself for others in your life. Now, that being said, it's not what you look like isn't all that matters. How much money you have isn't all that matters. But if you can kind of combine those two ideas, and we'll be very specific about how I'm able to dive into those ideas and what exactly it is I think is important to talk about. I have so many people that I just think talking to other people is fascinating. So it's not just going to be me the whole time. I have a roommate, Dan Brownell. He's going to be a part of this. This is our apartment I'm sitting in. He happens to be at work today, but I just want to get this out there because this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. So you'll be hearing from him. You'll be hearing from other people that I'm going to reach out to in both the fitness and wealth landscape. And even just outside of that, I think starting your own business, doing things like that, I think the people that do that are fascinating to me. Why people do things is fascinating. And I think we all have different purposes. And that's not something you need to know right away. I think discovering your purpose is important. And I think that's a drawn out process that not everybody just wakes up and knows. Like, there's people that wake up, they're 3 years old, they want to be a singer. And that's what they want to do. And that's a beautiful thing. But you can recreate who you are and how you present yourself and what you want to do. You're allowed to change your mind. Some people will be in your life for a season and you'll change and you should change personally. I think somebody was like, oh, somebody told me, oh, you changed. That's weird. Like, oh, I don't necessarily like you anymore. Like you changed. And it's like, well, we met when I was 14 years old. So wouldn't it be weird if I didn't? Like, I have so much new a decade of life experience and after school and all this and in the working world, like that should change you, not for the worse or better. It's neither. It's just you should adapt as a person because you should change your mind. That's the one thing people get scared about when they're at a certain level of success or certain level of fame, right? I don't think fame is necessarily what you should want because that's, I don't know, it doesn't seem like an attractive idea to me that everyone's poking their nose in your personal life. But some people get to a level of success because of something they did or said or were a project or thing they worked on. And they're then terrified to come out and say that they've changed their mind on some idea because then everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're a fraud, this or that, right? And it's like, no, like there's so much new information out there at your fingertips between AI, content, just science is better than ever. Everything, technology is just better than it's ever been. And if you're not changing your mind or ideas or what you think as an individual based off of those things that were provided, then you're not becoming the best person you can. So I want to just approach things from a growth mindset, allow the space for people to speak their truth, take that in and talk about it. I think it is so fascinating whether you're a motivational speaker, a fitness influencer, a businessman or woman, or an entrepreneur, right? Like whatever it is you want to do or you've dedicated your life's work to, that's fascinating to me. So I'm going to talk to people like that. I want to know why people do what they do, why they think what they think, and let that drive conversation. And I'm just a curious person. So that being said, the purpose of this is to learn and grow together. And like I said, if I can touch one person, this isn't everybody's cup of tea. Everybody I know listens to different music, watches different TV shows. So I don't expect this to be for everybody right away. And not even just this platform, but not every episode, right? Like you could be I'm a diehard fan of the things that I listen to podcast wise right now in the world. Like you have your Joe Rogans, obviously he just talks to everybody. So no, I don't listen to every Joe Rogan episode, but he's perfected podcast and interviewing. He asks great questions. He gives space for people to talk. He's not afraid to be confrontational, which is a beautiful thing because he's just himself. He doesn't let people say bullshit. But if he doesn't know something, like he has no ego about sitting back and just hearing and learning and then doing the research from there. So there's the things that I listen to the most right now are the Joe Rogan podcast, Jay Shetty, and Chris Williamson. If you don't know who those people are, I'm not saying you need to go subscribe or do whatever, but take a second and maybe if you want a better idea of where I'm coming from and what you can expect, again, not to copy what other people have done. That would be just consuming and then blobbing and regurgitating other information. And that's not what I'm here to do, but it would give you a better idea of where I'm coming from and why I'm doing this and what it is that motivates me and what I'm interested in. So I say that to let you know, those are like the 3 biggest podcasts right now that I consume, I learn from, and I'm just interested in. So there's a little snippet of where I'm coming from with this. On top of that, from the growth mindset idea, I just think it is important to note that it's not about being great at something. Like I'm not going to be great at this right away. I expect to grow and learn and work out the kinks. And every episode you watch of this podcast here will be better because that's what it should be, right? Like you don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. So I'm taking a jump, a leap of faith, if you will. And that's kind of where this is coming from. So I'll leave you with this to kind of tie it all back in for the quote, the foolish man seeks happiness in the distance and the wise grows it under their feet. I leave you with the idea of fulfillment. And this is something that was touched on by somebody I hope to speak to on this platform that helped me out a few months back when I was kind of navigating a difficult situation in my life. He's a family friend of mine. He's a one-on-one he takes one-on-one clients. He's a life coach, a motivational speaker, absolute genetic freak as far as his fitness level, and has a very interesting mindset. And that's fascinating to me, why he does what he does, how he approaches the shit he does. And that's Guy Waltman. You probably don't know him if I'm just saying this right now, but again, I really do hope to have him on this podcast at some point. He's hosting retreats. He's doing a lot of what I think is fascinating. He's been somebody that introduced me to the sport of lacrosse in third grade. He walked in with our high school coach, Coach Borgame, when I was at a basketball camp in third grade. And I still remember it to this day. He was cousins with a family friend of mine I started playing t-ball with when I was younger. So I knew him before that, but kind of third grade forwards where that relationship kind of molded. And he helped me with lacrosse. Has now since after we have a weird age. I think he's like 32 or 33. I'm 24, so there's a weird age gap there where it's like, okay, like when he's in high school and college, like as a being in proximity to me, we can kind of grow, and he could teach me things and athletically and I mean mentally, right? Like he can help have an influence in my life. But after that, there was like the burden was on one of us to kind of reconnect, right? Because that was just kind of a situational connection. So I reached out to him a few months ago, and we connected, and he helped me kind of shift what it is I want to do in life and approach, because I wasn't satisfied, and I'm not satisfied, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm not happy or I have a ton of gratitude for where I am and my family and the people that I've been close to and have spent and shared time and just lessons in their life with me. So I have a full level of gratitude for where I am, but that doesn't mean I'm satisfied, and that's okay. Those are two different things, right? So let's just take those, put them over there. But he helped me with the idea of fulfillment, and I ask you now to pause the video and just think about how you would personally define fulfillment, right? And the equation he gave me kind of shifted my mindset on how I thought about things in life, and it was truly eye-opening. So fulfillment equals excitement. It is the foundation and the rudimentary idea that you need to be excited about what it is you're doing. Like if you're not excited about it, you'll never feel fulfilled. You could be the biggest CEO of any organization, making FU money, rolling in dough, have a beautiful family, but if you're not excited about that job, you won't feel fulfilled. Even if you reach the top level of whatever it is you're doing, if you're not excited about it, it means nothing in regards to fulfillment, right? It's a beautiful thing to be able to provide and put yourself in a better situation, but having a lot of money only solves your money problems. So yes, it's great to not have money problems, but everything else inside of you, and when your head hits the pillow and you're just not happy, that still exists. So I think that's super important. Additionally, so it's fulfillment equals excitement times achievement. What would make you feel so fulfilled that you're excited about that if you achieved it, you would be on top of the world, right? For me, a podcast was one of those things. So the idea of podcasting here, somebody called me, so I kind of lost where I was there, but fulfillment equals excitement times achievement. So if you were excited about anything or what it is you're excited about, if you achieve that, what would make you feel great? One of those things for me was a podcast. So I'm starting that because I love talking to people. I love hearing about other people's life experience, their philosophy on life, if you will. Like philosophy, again, is one of those things that's fascinating to me. I have a tattoo of Marcus Aurelius to touch on the idea of stoicism, but that's something that definitely is interesting to me. The reading Marcus Aurelius, Plato, all these people is just fascinating. So I think that principles that were written so long ago that are still applicable and still they are relevant hundreds of years later. So it's those things carry weight, and I think it's important to have a good way you approach life. So for me, people's life philosophies, their life experience, who they are and why they are the way they are is something that I'm super fascinated about. So podcasting was one of those things. Hosting retreats, helping people at any level. I think service is something that I kept coming back to, and I'm going to save the rest of what he touched on with me for him to share, because to be honest, the intellectual integrity of how I feel about that is something like just even sharing the fulfillment thing, like that wasn't my idea, that was his. I think it's important to share. So, because that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that's where that came from. But I hope to have him on, and that's something that I'll leave for him to discuss, and I'll be sure to ask the right questions because he helped me. So I know he has no shortage of stuff to share. So I'll not touch on that too much, but essentially, I just want to thank you guys if you've stuck through this long. Thank you so much. More to come. I'm gonna try to get an episode a week posted, edited, and it'll some of it will be longer. This is just a nice introduction to who I am and why I'm doing it. So, wealth and fitness, the idea of creating versus consuming was just the topic of this little introduction. But again, my name is Drew Collins. I hope to motivate and share and touch people with what I'm doing. So if you're scared to do something in your life, it doesn't have to be a fucking podcast. So I'm not saying that. Whatever it is that you know you want to do, that you're worried about starting or looking foolish doing, just fucking do it. Don't overthink. Do it. Just act. Action trumps everything. Consistency and discipline in wealth and fitness, two underlying principles we'll cover on another episode. But overall, just take that chance, bet on yourself, and never ever worry about the opinion of somebody else, because people who will judge you don't matter, and people who don't I messed that up. People who judge you don't matter, and people that matter won't judge you. So anybody that's achieved a level of success or has done what you want to do will never judge you for starting something. I guarantee it. It's the people that are afraid to take action who will try to shut your dreams down or shut you down or call you an idiot, say you're foolish. Those are the people that do those types of things. So bet on yourself, stay consistent, and just take extreme ownership. With all that being said, thank you for listening, like I alluded to. Let's wrap things up with I'll catch you on the next episode of Wealth and Fitness. Until then, keep grinding, keep growing, and keep creating. Tune in.